Today I'm going to show you the best drills to fix your ankle mobility, more specifically missing ankle dorsiflexion. Not only am I going to show you the best drills to restore this range of motion, but I'm also going to show you some drills that help lock in that range of motion and make it more permanent. What's up guys, Blake here. Missing ankle dorsiflexion, which is the capacity that you have to bend your ankle so that your toes come up towards your shins. It's a really common issue and it can lead to a bunch of different things that you don't want happening in your body. Knee issues, more specifically ACL issues, and a whole bunch of compensation patterns. Heels lifting off the ground when you squat, an excessive forward lean when you squat, or just the inability to squat down to full depth while the heels are planted. These compensations can riddle their way up the kinetic chain and cause problems in the hips, the low back, so on and so forth. Now, you may know if you have tight, restricted ankles if you fail to do this test or if you just really struggle to do this. Put your big toe about 1 fist's width away from the wall. Keep your heel planted on the ground. Drive the knees forward over the toes, okay? Keeping that heel planted on the ground, you should be able to bend that ankle enough to touch the wall with your knee without that heel coming up, okay? If you simply cannot do that, the range of motion is just not there, or the only way you can do it is that heel lifting, or it's just very hard to do this and you just kind of feel like the joint is restricted and you struggle to accomplish it, then these drills I'm going to show you now are going to be helpful. Remember, you can always come back to that. What gets tracked and measured gets improved, all right? So if you started with that little assessment, okay, come back to it after trying some of the stuff that I'm going to show you here today so you can make sure it's working. Now, before I show you all the good stuff, it's important to kind of address some of the musculature around the ankle joint. This is more of a flexibility issue, but it's very common for people to have really tight and restricted calf muscles. So prior to doing anything that I show you next in this video, I recommend taking about 30 seconds just to foam roll the calves. All right, now we'll get into the big stuff. Exercise number 1 is going to be a talus mobilization. Basically, all you need for this is a resistance band that's anchored to something behind you, okay? You're going to wrap that resistance band around the talus, which is right at the joint line, all right? A lot of people, when they're trying to do mobilizations like this, they put the band too high up on their shin bone, their tibia, okay? That makes this much less effective. So err on the side of caution, put the band lower than you think you're going to need it. With that band wrapped around the talus and a lot of tension on the band, all that you're going to do is keep that heel planted and start driving the knee forward in front of the toes. Each rep that you do, I want you to think about going in and out of your maximal end range of motion. In fact, each time you do a rep, I want you to go a millimeter further than the last rep that happened just before it. Motion is lotion. The more you do this, the more the joint is getting infiltrated with like a joint lubricant called synovial fluid, and it's enhancing its capacity to bend in this way more and more into the future. Anywhere between 10 and 40 reps of this is adequate. Honestly, the more volume of reps, the better, but somewhere between 10 and 40 reps is usually a good rep range. Exercise number 2 is angled dorsiflexions, okay? This is an alternate exercise to exercise number 1. If you don't have a band and you can't do exercise number 1 because of a lack of equipment, then give this one a shot. Just realize that this is less effective than the first one that I showed. The first one, the talus mobilization, is the best. This is something that you can do if you just don't have any equipment and you're still looking to improve your ankle dorsiflexion. Start in the same position that we use to assess the ankle mobility, with the big toe on the ankle that you're mobilizing about 1 fist's width away from the wall. All that you're going to do here is drive the knee over the big toe as close to that wall as you can get it, about 15 times. You're going to drive the knee straight forwards over all of your toes about 15 times, and then you're going to drive the toe to the outside over the pinky toe about 15 times as well. The same principles apply here. Motion is lotion. If you can't dorsiflex, do this. This is us getting your body to do that more and more, and it's definitely improving your dorsiflexion capacity. Again, it's not as good as that talus mobilization, but this is something that you can kind of throw into the mix really easily anywhere you are. You can be on a trail, you can be in a garage like I am. It doesn't really matter. You don't really need any equipment for this. And it kind of works that dorsiflexion at different angles, which has a little bit more functional benefit. Exercise number 3 is going to be dorsiflexion pails and rails. This is the thing that's really going to unlock a lot more range of motion. I recommend doing this after you've done either exercise 1 or 2, the talus mobilization or the angled dorsiflexions. Do one of those prior to doing this. To get set up for this though, you're gonna get into a half kneeling position like this. The heel stays planted at all times. That's pretty much important with all of these drills I'm showing you today. Keep that heel planted, drive the knee forward over the toes, and then block the knee with your chest. Actually lean your chest into the top of the knee to increase that dorsiflexion occurring at the ankle, and also to prevent the knee from coming backwards as we're working on the pails and rails. By the way, pails and rails are a fancy acronym for progressive angular isometric loading and regressive angular isometric loading. That title makes it sound scary or complicated, but it's basically just a fancy way of saying that you're gonna be contracting and squeezing and firing and flexing the muscles that fight the stretch, your calves, okay? You're gonna be squeezing your calves really hard, and then you're going to be activating, firing, squeezing, flexing the muscles that go with the stretch and pull that ankle into that deep dorsiflexion. If you're doing this right, that ankle will be in a deeply dorsiflexed position the whole time, the ankle will stay planted the whole time, and no motion will occur. It's gonna look like you're not doing anything. You're just making funny faces, looking like you're straining a lot, but no motion should be occurring. In this deeply dorsiflexed position, all that you're gonna do for the pails portion is start to drive the toes down as though you're trying to point your ankle, okay? You're turning on your calf muscles gradually and intensifying that contraction over 20 seconds, okay? That heel is staying planted, but you're turning on the calf musculature like you're doing a calf raise. Remember, that heel stays planted, and you're building up that contraction gradually until you're peaking out at about 20 seconds. Immediately, right when you get to 20 seconds, you're gonna switch around that contraction and then start to activate the muscles on the front of the shin, the anterior tibialis. These muscles pull the toes up. You're gonna activate and squeeze those as hard as you can and build up that contraction there gradually over 20 seconds as well. That's how you do pails and rails. 2 to 3 sets of 20 seconds of each of those contractions is really what needs to be done. During the pails portion where you're activating your calves, you should feel the calves burning a little bit. And during the rails portion, when you're activating the front of the shin, you should really feel a very deep burn in the anterior tibialis, which is that muscle on the front of your shin. The intensity that you bring to this exercise is going to drive the change that you get. So you should be straining, you should be struggling, you should make faces when you're doing this. The intensity level of this should be high. If you kind of, take your time with it, you're not doing it very intensely, you're not gonna get very much change. The harder you start contracting those muscles during this drill, the more benefit you're gonna get from it. Remember, the heel stays planted the whole time and nothing should move, okay? We're just putting that ankle into a deeply dorsiflexed position. We're activating the calf muscles for 20 seconds, and then we're activating the front of the shin muscles for 20 seconds afterwards. If anything moves, the heel lifts off the ground, you sink back, you're doing it wrong. Nothing should move during this drill. All right, so now at this point, you should have either done exercise 1 or 2, which is the talus mobilization and the angled dorsiflexions, and then followed that with the dorsiflexion pails and rails. You can probably revisit that initial test that I showed you at the beginning and already find that you have increased range of motion in the ankle. The thing is though, anytime we unlock more range of motion in a joint by doing drills like this, and this applies for everything, okay? We always want to teach the neuromuscular system how to use that new range of motion acquired. This is a very important step to lock in that mobility and make it more functional and permanent so that you can own that new range of motion. If you fail to do some of these drills I'm going to show you now, and you just did all the other stuff that I just showed you and your ankle is bending more, and if you just go sit on the couch and you don't use this range of motion, you're likely to lose all that mobility that's gained. So this step is very important. So these all center around activating the anterior tibialis, which is a very important muscle on the front of the shin that almost everybody that's missing dorsiflexion is weak in. This is that very important muscle that we want to be strengthening and activating to lock in that new ankle range of motion that we have. Here are a couple of my favorite ways to activate the anterior tibialis. You can stand with your back supported against the wall, balance on your heels, and pull the toes up into deep dorsiflexion, trying to go as high as you can each and every single rep. You can lay on your back in this position, hook a kettlebell on your toes, and then pull the toes up towards the shin. These are resisted ankle dorsiflexions. You can train the anterior tibialis eccentrically by standing with your back flush against the wall, backing your heels all the way up towards the wall as well, and then sliding down the wall, driving the knees over the toes, and then coming back up. All of these you should feel burning deeply in your anterior tibialis. If you're getting a good pump, a nice burn, that's a good sign you're getting good contraction there and you're stimulating those muscles, which is very important. With these, it's all kind of personal preference, so experiment with them, find the one that you like the most, and make that one a regular part of your routine. Usually with my online coaching clients, I have them do one set of 20 of either of those 3 variations. There you have it. Spend less than 5 minutes with these drills, and I promise you that you're gonna have increased ankle dorsiflexion. This is especially a good thing to do if you're about to do squats, you're about to train your legs. Integrate this into your warm-up. There are obviously many more things that you can do, slant board stretching, so on and so forth. I've been teaching corrective exercise for 20 years. I've had my own ankle problems, and these are the drills that I've had both success with in myself and with my online coaching clients. As a coach, I help my clients fix their mobility issues, their flexibility restrictions, posture, muscle imbalances, movement pattern compensations. I also help them tackle other things, like I help them manage their stress better, dial in their supplementation, their biohacks, so on and so forth. If you want to learn more about how coaching with me works, or you want to see some of my clients, see their transformation photos, hear their success stories, open up the description down below and click coaching. If you want my free workout that helps you get leaner and stronger while correcting common muscle imbalances, mobility issues, flexibility restrictions, movement pattern compensations, then open up the comment section down below. You'll see a comment there, a pinned comment from me. That will take you over to my website. When you click that link, as soon as you get there, I'll ask you for your email and then I'll send you a copy of that workout within 5 minutes. I really hope that you enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you want me to make more videos on in the future. I'm always eager for new ideas, so comment down below. Let me know what you want me to talk about, what you want me to make, and I will get on that. And that's pretty much it for today's video. I'll see you next time.